welcome to the Clerk of Court Live. My name is Gary Smith. Okay, I'm a manager in the criminal department for the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, branch 3448. And the Clerk of the Circuit Court is the Honorable Dorothy Brown, and we'd like to welcome you to this evening's show. My guest today, and I apologize, before we get to our guest today, we want to let our viewing audience know that you can view the Clerk of Court live at CAN TV, channel 21, or on cantv.org/hotline. This is a live, okay? So excuse any, mishaps that we may have on our show, but this is really actually live right now. And we're a call-in program, and we would like our guests or our participating audience to call in to our hotline number. The number is 312-738-1060. Again, that number is 773. You know what? I apologize. That's 312-738-1060. Okay, and so please call in with any questions that you might have about today's topic. Okay, and you know what? I apologize since I messed up that number. I want to give the listening audience our number one more time. It's 312-738-1060. Okay, so please, if you have any questions about today's topics, which are our upcoming Expungement Summit that we're having on June 2nd, 2018. And the location for our Expungement Summit is going to be Kennedy King College, and that's located at 63rd and Halsted. That address is 6301 South Halsted in Chicago. So, to talk about today's topic of our Expungement Summit, we have a very special guest. Okay, our guest is Mrs. Elizabeth Nevin, who is the Expungement Manager for the Criminal Department of the Clerk of the Circuit Court. Liz, welcome to our show today.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm very happy to be here on the Clerk of Court Live.
It's a pleasure to have you, Liz. Now, we don't have a lot of time here, so we want to get right into what we're doing on June 2nd of 2018 at our Expungement Summit. So, Liz, first of all, before we get into what the expungement is going to be about and what we're going to do, can you give our listening audience a little information about specifically what are expungement records?
So an expungement of a record is when you clear your background so that the offenses basically will disappear. So it won't inhibit you from employment or housing or trying to get a license like a certified nursing assistant or something like that. So basically it makes your criminal background disappear.
Very good. Okay. So from our past experience of these expungement summits, and how many years have we actually been doing the expungement summit?
This will be our 14th year.
Wow, that's a lot.
And every year it gets bigger and more involved and more information comes out. We travel all over this Cook County, city and suburbs. This year, as you said previously, we're going to be right in the middle of the city at Kennedy King College at 6343 South Halsted. So it's very easily accessible by public transportation. There's parking available, and we urge anyone that has any questions about their criminal background to come out and speak to us.
Okay, so you were giving us a brief explanation of what an expungement of criminal records are and what the sealing of a criminal record is. Now, once a person determines that they are eligible for an expungement or sealing of their records, then if they're interested in coming to our Expungement Summit on June 2nd, then what should they do?
Well, the first step they should do is they should go and get a criminal history report or a rap sheet. This is pretty much mandatory. We really encourage everyone to go and get your rap sheet. And you need to do it quickly because June 2nd is only about a week away.
Absolutely.
So to get that, you go to 3510 South Michigan Avenue to the Chicago Police Department headquarters. They do fingerprinting there Monday through Friday from 8:30 to noon. It is a $16 fee, and it's not refundable. But it is so well worth it. It will expedite your process at the summit.
Let me ask you, how long does it take for you, once you go to the police headquarters, to get your rap sheet?
That's a very good question. Typically, it takes about 7 business days after the time you are fingerprinted.
Okay.
We are hoping that the Chicago Police Department is working with us this year, and they will expedite that purpose if the person, defendant, customer tells them that they're preparing for the summit. So hopefully they can speed that along a little bit.
Absolutely. So if you really want to get your cases, start the process for
Correct.
expunging your cases on June 2nd, it's really important for you to go now to get your rap sheet so you have it when you come to the summit.
That's correct. And also I wanted just to tell those people that might not have Chicago arrests but might have suburban arrests. Any arrests that happened in the suburban districts after the year 2002 will also be on that Chicago Police Department rap sheet. So even if you only had one arrest, say in Cicero, you should still get the rap sheet because it will be on there.
Okay. So again, we are the clerk of the circuit court, and we are a live program, so we encourage any of our callers who have questions to come in and call us, please, at 312-738-1060 with any questions, comments, concerns you may have. Again, that's 312-738-1060. Please call us with any questions and concerns you have about...
Oh, look, Mr. Smith, we have a caller now.
Excellent. Caller, welcome to Clerk of the Court Live. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I was just curious about the expungement. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's too great about letting murderers get their records expunged. Do just people that have minor stuff, maybe distributing this or that, get expunged? That I don't care about. But I have a problem with people who kill people and get their record expunged. Okay, that's all I have to ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, caller. And let me ask you, Liz, I'm sure that's a concern with a lot of people.
It is.
What's the procedure, what's the law for people who have murder cases and murder convictions, or how would we handle expunging of murder cases?
Well, as you know, Mr. Smith, we work for the Clerk of the Circuit Court, the Honorable Dorothy Brown. So we're not actually licensed legal attorneys.
Okay.
So that would be an eligibility question to a licensed legal attorney for the state of Illinois. The attorneys will be available, free attorney services, at the Expungement Summit. I understand, caller, that your concern is about the safety of your family and your community. So it depends on the law and what the extent of that conviction was. So I really can't speak to if a person was convicted of a murder. Again, convictions are not expungible.
Okay. So, caller, to your point, Ms. Nevin is saying that convictions for murders aren't normally expungible, and therefore, it's something that, we have to abide by the statutes.
Correct.
Whatever the statutes have for murder are what we go by.
Correct.
And so there'll be attorneys there to look over their rap sheet and what they were convicted for, and then be able to make a determination if that person is eligible for an expungement or for a sealing. But, you know, Liz is hesitant to say that murder is not expungible, but, you know, it's important to note that there's a lot of things that have been made expungible, but there are some things that are still not expungible because, and maybe, you know, Liz, I don't know if you want, you know, to just say some of the things that are still not expungible.
Sure.
Can you tell our audience
Absolutely.
what things may not be expungible at this point?
So the one thing we also want to remember, Mr. Smith, is there's two different things to petition the court for: expunging and sealing, which have two different ways of legally clearing your record.
Okay.
Okay, so convictions are not sealable. There are four, let me back up a minute. August of 2017, the state passed the expansion of the sealing law,
Okay.
which makes almost all felonies sealable if they meet their prerequisites of probation, supervision, and then there's a waiting period that also must be satisfied, except for these four offenses, okay? DUIs and reckless driving are not sealable. Animal crimes are not sealable. Sex offenses, with the exception of prostitution and public indecency, are not expungible. And domestic battery and violations of orders or protections are not sealable. But if you had a different offense that was a conviction and it was a felony and the time period has lapsed, you very well could be eligible to seal that record now.
Okay. So there's a lot of classes of criminal offenses that are now eligible for expungement.
For sealing.
Or sealing.
Correct.
And can you make the distinction between an expungement and sealing?
Absolutely. So an expungement is for non-convictions. So anything that was a dismissal or an acquittal, then those would be expungible. If you had a conviction that the waiting period was completed and you satisfied your probation satisfactorily, then you might be eligible for sealing. The difference is expungement is only viewable by certain state agencies. So like a state police or something like that. But the normal person coming into our office to do a background check on that person, there would be no information found. So it would be like that offense never happened. Sealable offenses, law agencies can still view them. Some healthcare workers, anything to do with a public school, might be able to still view them. It's just a way of making sure that those more serious offenses, they can clean their record as into effective housing or employment, but it still stays out there for a little bit.
Okay. Again, you're watching Clerk of the Court live. Again, this is a live program where you can call in and ask questions of our guest, Ms. Nevin. We invite you to, if you have questions, please call us and let us know what your comments and questions and concerns are. You can call us at 312-738-1060. Again, that's 312-738-1060. Okay, Elizabeth, I want to get into, if a person determines that they're eligible for an expungement, great. But what about some people who determine that they aren't eligible for expungement or sealing of their criminal records? Are there any alternative remedies that they may be able to come to the Expungement Summit and take, avail to?
That's a very good question, and we get that question very often in our office. There are several other alternative forms of relief that may be available and you may be eligible for. The attorneys that will be at Kennedy King College on June 2nd would be happy to provide that information to those individuals. There's something called a healthcare worker waiver that you would apply to the state for in case you wanted to work in a nursing home or a hospital, but that your previous arrest was barring you from that employment. There's a certificate of good conduct. If you wanted to work in a public school, say you wanted to be, a teacher's aide or a custodian or something like that, and your previous arrest was barring you from that employment, you could file a certificate of good conduct. There's a waiver and a certificate. The certificates are filed with the clerk's office in the jurisdiction in which the arrest occurred. So if you had an arrest in Maywood, and you attended your court cases in Maywood, that's where that certificate would be then filed. And the attorneys at the Expungement Summit on June 2nd can most definitely provide them with that type of information. There's also the Prisoner Review Board if they wanted to apply to the state for clemency or a pardon. The Prisoner Review Board will be present at the Expungement Summit to be able to give those other defendants some ray of hope and some information on how to file for clemency. Once a clemency would be granted by the governor, and it's very timely, it's at least a 4-year process. It does take quite a bit of time, but if the governor would grant that pardon, you can then petition the clerk's office for an expungement, which means you've cleared your record.
Great. So there are some alternatives to expungement and sealing, which will be available at the Expungement Summit on June 2nd. And I know we've been talking about this. I want to just show a little information, to our viewers about the Expungement Summit information. So we have information about the Expungement Summit. It's going to be Saturday, June 2nd, 2018 at Kennedy King College. And the exact address of where the expungement is going to be located is at 6343 South Halsted, Building W, and that's in Chicago, Illinois. And again, we ask people who are interested in expungement and want to come and take a bail to the information to please bring their rap sheet and or criminal history of all of their criminal cases. So if you need additional information about the Expungement Summit, you can call our office, and our office is located, our main office is located, the Clerk of the Circuit Court at 50 West Washington, room 1001 in Chicago, Illinois. We're open from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, excluding any court holidays. And if you'd like more information about the Expungement Summit, you can call 312-603-5031. Again, that number is 312-603-5031. So now, Liz, I know there's a lot of questions that people ask you on a daily basis. Being an expungement manager, really 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you're an expungement manager. But what's the difference between people coming to your office Monday through Friday and asking of expungement services, and specifically what's going to happen on June 2nd at Kennedy King College?
That's a good question. And while we can do expungements and sealings daily in our office at the Daily Center, the Summit gives us an opportunity to broaden our horizons and get more of the community in on one day. The free legal services, we have upwards of 200 attorneys that are volunteering their time for that day. We'll have judges there who will actually be hearing 298 indigent petitions for those defendants who are unable to pay for their filing fees. They can petition a judge right then and there that day to get their fees waived. So that would allow them to file exactly on June 2nd.
That's great.
It's a wonderful thing. There's also going to be information on child support. So if you have, questions about child support payments, on how to receive them or how to, more expeditiously pay them, they'll be there. If you have been the victim of identity theft, you can get information on identity theft, on how to petition the court to rectify that situation. The Safer Foundation was always at our summits. They're one of our best allies there, and they'll be talking to people about how to gain employment even if you do have a felony conviction. They'll help you give information on employment. There's resource information on job training, housing and community services will be there, the Veterans Services will be there. We'll even have a drug testing lab on site. So if one of your charges were a drug offense and you needed a clean drug test in order to file for that petition, the drug testing company will be there on site for them to be able to do that testing. So they won't even have to leave to go and do that.
Wow, so we have a lot of things going on
We
at the
do have a
Expungement
lot
Summit.
of things
And
all day.
That's why we're asking people to get there early, because if you want to take care of, if you want to take advantage of some or all of the resources that we have available, it's going to take a little time for you to be able to get around and be able to get to each one of the tables that you may need assistance from.
That's correct. The other thing that I wanted to make sure to tell everyone is, even though this is being a Cook County Expungement Summit, the State Appellate Defender's Office will be represented there. So if you have arrests in other counties, DuPage County, Lake County, and you might not know how to proceed to file for an expungement or a sealing in those counties, the State Appellate Defender's Office can assist you with that also.
And usually there's a line for the appellate defender.
There is.
People do have, criminal offenses outside of Cook County, and the appellate defender could help you to look those cases up
Correct.
and see the status of it. And so they do have a lot of people who are in need of their services. So we suggest that if you want to come and find out about cases in other counties,
That's correct.
the state appellate defender has people and the resources there to
Yes.
be able to look up your cases, but get there early enough so they have enough time to spend with you and give you the adequate amount of time needed to look up, your
That's
cases
true.
in other places.
So while they can give you information on those out-of-county arrests, you would not be able to file there because you would have to go to that county of origin to file. But at least you would understand what the process would be to file in that county.
Well, you know what? We're really excited about
We
this
are.
expungement and the opportunities that it provides for the people of Cook County to come and clear their record and to be able to get a second chance and a fresh start.
It is.
So, we're really thankful to Clerk Brown for putting on this Expungement Summit and making sure that the people in Cook County have access to a second chance and to cleaning up their record. Are there any other things that you would like to say about the Expungement Summit or about expunging or sealing your records that may be helpful to people either on June 2nd when it comes to Kennedy King and beyond?
One of the things that I just want everyone to realize is this is a process. It's a process for us to prepare for the summit every year. It's a process for them once they're at the summit. They're going to see a lot of different people, and all of us that are there, we're there to help them. So just be prepared that once you file your petition, it's not an immediate relief. There is a time limit and some statutory time limits that need to be addressed. But with your patience, in maybe 3 to 4 months, you'll get a granted order from a judge expunging your record, and you can go on for the rest of your life and enjoy, without having any barriers to it.
And that's great. We hope that we gave our listening audience some helpful information. There's a lot of exciting things going on
There is.
in the clerk's office, besides our annual expungement. Would you like for me, or would you like to elaborate on some of the other programs, just some of the programs that are coming in the very near future that maybe we'd like to let the people know about?
Well, the most important thing that's on our horizon and very shortly coming up is mandatory e-filing. So the state of Illinois is going to mandatory e-filing beginning July 1st for all civil types of law. So that means chancery, civil, domestic relations, law, and probate. Except in probate, you can't do wills online. You're still going to have to do those in person. But it's bringing it out into the 21st century where you can actually file into cases that are existing in those areas of law, and you can also start a new case in those areas of law. So that starts on July 1st. So if you would like more information on that, please look at our flyer that we're showing you right now. And it has the phone number to call for that would be 312-603-4357 if you would like more information on the mandatory e-filing beginning July 1st.
Liz, I really want to thank you for being here today.
It was my pleasure.
And being able to explain to the people what we need to do in order to be able to get their criminal records expunged. Thank you very much. So on behalf of the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Ms. Dorothy Brown, we'd like to thank you all for listening in, and we'd like to thank you all for being able to listen to our show
Take that off.
as
There you go. Be patient with us, please. We're trying to get the camera back onto. There we go.
yes,
As we said, we are live.
So, but on behalf of the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Ms. Dorothy Brown, again, we'd like to thank you, and we hope that we see you on June 2nd at our 14th annual Expungement and Sealing Summit.
You'll see me first thing in the morning. We'll be out on the front line,
We'll be there.
triaging people, answering questions, getting you prepared for the day. Come look for me. We'll be there all day, and we really enjoy helping people, and that's why we're doing this, and we are so thankful to the clerk to do this for the community.
So on behalf of the clerk of the Circuit Court, Ms. Dorothy Brown, we'd like to thank you for listening in. We hope to see you on June 2nd. Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Thank you.